Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at an excellent game that I had in the USS Iowa, the Tier 9 American battleship. I'm divisioned up with my friend from APOC Megadude, and he's playing in the Fletcher, the Tier 9 American destroyer, and we're playing some domination here on the map Warrior's Path. For my captain skills, I have Preventative Maintenance, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, Basics of Survivability, and Concealment Expert. And for my equipment, I have Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 1 and 2, AA Guns Mod 2, Concealment Systems Modification 1, and Artillery Plotting Room Modification 2. So the Iowa here in World of Warships, what do you need to know about this American battleship? Well, this is a boat that has been featured on our channel quite some time. However, this replay that you're about to see in it is exactly why this is still one of the best Tier 9 battleships. Now, of course, at Tier 9, you also have the USS Missouri, which is the premium free experience American battleship that will be going off of sale, so to speak. Well, I guess it's not really on sale, but if you are able to get 750,000 free XP, you can unlock that thing. However, the Musashi, the upcoming Tier 9 free experience Japanese battleship, will also be worth 750,000 free XP. And I believe that will be in February sometime that's coming. I don't know for sure. I don't have a Missouri, but I digress. That's what will be happening with that ship in the near future. The Iowa is the tech tree version, however, and there are some slight differences. The first and the biggest one, of course, is that the Iowa has no access to radar, while the Missouri does. Now, the Iowa here at Tier 9 is... yeah, it's pretty good. The armor took a very nice buff when they decided to lower the citadels on American battleships some time ago. So this thing isn't the instant citadel machine that it used to be way back in the day, when basically any battleship, even Tier 7s, could easily punish a broadside Iowa. That doesn't happen as much anymore. You can still citadel it, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot harder to do so, especially at long ranges. Now, you get 9 406mm guns, and these are, of course, the super heavy shell American armor-piercing shells that they do shoot. And they do have a rather slow shell flight time through the air. You can see just shooting out to 14.5 kilometers takes almost just about 8 seconds to get there. However, these shells do hit very, very hard. 13,500 damage when you get a citadel. You're going to see here with this Farragut. You can also see that the accuracy is pretty good. I get 2 shells that over-penetrate right in the middle, and I do knock out something on that ship, so he is getting out of dodge. And it also made me realize, why is there a Farragut in this matchmaking? Somebody must have failed dived pretty hard. I digress, though. The guns are very accurate on this ship if you have artillery plotting room modification put onto it. Now, what that does mean is that you can't get down to 26.2 seconds with this ship unless you decide to forego the plotting room and put on the increased rate of fire, main battery mod 3. But that's something that you don't want to do, because the American thing is I managed to get a citadel on the front barbette on the A turret on that Friedrich de Grosse is the accuracy with the plotting room. You're going to see throughout the course of this replay just the fantastic dispersion that this ship has, and it's something that, at least at the high tiers, being Tier 8 and up, is really only rivaled by the Yamato that has, of course, the 2.1 Sigma. But yeah, the accuracy on this ship is fantastic, and for the most part, RNG is going to be very kind to you, and it doesn't really matter if it's short, medium, or long distance. This thing can shoot out to 23.3 kilometers, and even at those ranges, you're still going to get some nice dispersion. You can see right there at 19 kilometers, that salvo looks pretty darn good. Unfortunately, the shells landed just a bit past, but I still managed 3 hits for about 7,100 points of damage. Now, right there, you can see I was almost full broadside to the Alabama, and I only took about 9,000 points of damage. So, a bit lucky on my part, I will admit, but I did not get citadeled, so I am A-okay. However, at this point, I realize that there's no reason for me to push into the A-cap. There's also an enemy Fletcher that's out there. I do try to snap a shot off at him, but unfortunately, I decided to shoot a little bit too early, and he slowed down very hard and missed my entire salvo. Now, other things about the Iowa, of course, since it's an American battleship, it has a fantastic AA suite, and if you do decide to fully pimp it out for AA, you can get your rating to over 100 and make it a very, very hard target to sink Really, the only thing that we'll be able to is a full-on carrier attack, but you're still going to be able to shoot down quite a few of the planes before they manage to damage your ship. The maneuverability, however, is rather poor. The top speed is fantastic at 33 knots, but accordingly, since the ship is so long to maintain that top speed, that the turning circle and the rudder shift are downright atrocious. This is nothing like the mid-tier American battleships, and even like the Alabama at Tier 8, where they have a very nice turning circle and rudder shift. It does not have that here with the Iowa. However, the concealment is very American in that regard. It is pretty darn good. 12.2 kilometers with a full concealment build allows you to outspot German and Japanese battleships without too much of an issue. And really the only thing that's going to beat you in the spotting game is a British battleship like the Lion, the Monarch, or the Conqueror. So this thing is able to sneak up pretty close to caps before it does get detected. And there's even some cruisers out there like the Hindenburg, which have comparable levels of concealment, so you can get the jump on German cruisers and some of the Soviet cruisers as well, along with the Henri IV. Anyway, at this point, it's 291 to 324. I get a shot down range here at the enemy Otago. He is full broadside. I was aiming at the Freddy, and then at the very last second decided to switch to the Otago, and it pays off with 1 Citadel and 3 overpens. I do 22,000 points of damage, and I secure my second Citadel of the game. Something to note, people that do run priority target, obviously it tells you how many ships are aiming at you. If there is another enemy ship that is right next to the one that you intend to shoot, go ahead and click on the enemy ship that you're not intending to shoot, and what'll happen is the guy that you're trying to throw the shells at might get a little bit confused, or he might not take it seriously and be like, oh, well, I guess nobody's aiming at me now, and then you quickly switch over and manage to pelt the guy. The next salvo goes down at the Alabama, and very, very luckily for me, I managed 1 shell hit that is a Citadel, so still a successful salvo in that regard. I'm up to 60,000 points of damage. Granted, the Citadels have been very, very nice, and my buddy Megadude actually manages to dev strike the enemy line that was over in the vicinity of the Bravo objective, so a very nice job by him. And now my next salvo is going to go down range here at the German Scharnhorst. Now, of course, you're not going to get Citadels very often on those things, but 17,000 points of damage and 3 base defense ribbons is enough for me, as he took a very, very heavy salvo right there. And yeah, the American armor-piercing shells are just fantastic at dealing damage. I know I've already said it a couple times, but these things are just so darn good. If you can get used to the shell flight time and the ballistics of them, it's just fantastic. And, of course, the Montana at Tier 10, which you would get after the Iowa, gets 3 more of these wonderfully performing guns. The Scharnhorst decides once again to come around the corner broadside, and another 17,000 point damaging salvo. That guy has gotten chunked by 34k the last 2 times that I've shot at him, and then my friend in the Scharnhorst was able to take care of business. So right there, that's just the brute force of these guns. Granted, it was a Tier 7 battleship, but it still has 350 millimeters of belt armor. That is a very thick armor plate, and I was just able to punch through and around it with relative ease. I get another shutout here at the enemy Baltimore. He had been in a pretty good spot that had prevented me from getting some hits on him. However, the shells do manage to get over the island. I pick up the Confederate and deal about 13,000 points of damage to that guy with 1 pen and 4 overpens. So the last few salvos that I've unleashed have been well over 10,000 points of damage each, and I gotta say that this gun performance is fantastic. Now, if you want to quote me, I believe a few months ago when I did an Izumo commentary, that I believe the Izumo has the best set of guns at Tier 9, at least in terms of gun performance. However, the Izumo has much better shell velocity, and it has pretty decent accuracy. So hitting targets at long range, the Izumo is definitely going to shine in. But if you are able to close the distance, then the Iowa is able to do just as good, if not better, because it has higher alpha strike. So at this point, it's 334 to 327. The game is still up in the air. The enemy team has lost 5 ships while we have lost 4, but unfortunately, we've lost 3 of our team's 4 destroyers. So there's only 1 more guy out there, and it's the Akazuki, while the enemy team still has 2. So this is still anybody's game right here. I've done 108,000 points of damage, which is pretty good, pretty respectable, but there's still plenty more that has to be done. Now, the first order of business here is getting rid of this Alabama. He's been sitting at the corner of Alpha for quite some time, and what we're going to need to do is push these enemy ships out of A. I've strayed a little bit too far to the west for my own liking. However, using the excellent speed that this ship has, I'm going to be able to get back into the combat pretty quickly. Now, I decided to shoot a very long-range salvo down at the enemy Nagato. However, he was behind the island when I shot, and you can see that he is slowing down just in the nick of time. And unfortunately, none of my shells are going to impact that guy. A couple in the front and a couple behind him. So, yeah. Really quickly, how has the grind went for you guys? I know that, at least that I'm pretty sure it should be over with now, since this video is coming up on a Wednesday, of course. The New Year's missions and the Battle of North Cape missions should be over with now. Let me know how you guys fared. I was able to, on the very last day, get the Arctic camo for the Scharnhorst, and of course I already finished the missions for the Battle of North Cape. But let me know down in the comment section what you guys were able to accomplish on those missions, if you were able to get them done, and what you think of the new premium paints. I myself am a fan of them. The Duke of York, not so much. So anyway, getting back to the gameplay, I got a full broadside Alabama. He did come out of the islands there. We got some shells coming down range from it. Looks like the Turpits hits him pretty hard, and then I managed to snag a double citadel and do over 20,000 points of damage, and I take care of that tier 8 premium American battleship, and I secure my first kill of the game. So a very nice, very good salvo on that guy. Those tier 8 American battleships are, in my opinion, the best balanced in terms of their citadel placement. They're not impossible to reach by any means, and if they do show you a broadside, you are certainly able to punish them. However, angling correctly, you will be a-okay. But unfortunately for him, he was not angled very well, and he took it right in the side. Now you can see here as I pick up the assisted base capture, my anti-aircraft guns are going. I get another triple base defense there on the enemy Nagato in Bravo. You can see my AA is doing pretty good against these carrier aircraft from the enemy Ranger. Granted, they're only tier 7 planes, but I digress. My AA is still chewing them up and spitting them out pretty nicely. I'm up to 13 planes, no, 12 planes shot down. Excuse me. You can see that there's some torpedoes coming in from my right side as well, I believe. That might have been from the enemy, the Otago, I believe. Some more shells did hit the Nagato, and I managed to get another base defense ribbon, so keeping that guy from being able to get the B cap is important, considering that each team has one cap, and that one is being contested. I now got to turn hard to port. However, I did let the carrier light me on fire twice with the bombs, but there's no reason for me to put it out, as the fire is going to go out on its own right now, so that's a-okay. I am speeding up here as I'm trying to make this left turn. I am now effectively angled to the Nagato, which is a good thing. However, the Baltimore and potentially the Otago will be able to get some shots into me. And you can also see the enemy Ranger is very, very close. He's only 8.2 kilometers away, and I'm swinging my guns into play to try to take care of business. Any second now, some torpedoes are going to appear off my starboard side, but luckily for me, they do manage to run out. And right there, saving my repair. If those torpedoes did have the range to get me, it looks like at least 2, maybe 3 of them would have hit me, but I would have had my repair to use. And if I would have used it on those 2 fires, well, then those torpedoes would have hit me and I would flood out, and that would be game over for Sneaky, as I do manage to get a citadel and an overpen on the Ranger, trying to get my rear turret into play as well. The shells are going down range. Will I be able to get the kill? There we go. I pick up the high caliber and secure my 7th citadel of the game, and I'm up to 154,000 points of damage. But yeah, if I would have used the repair on that double fire instead of just letting it burn, I mean, there was no reason for me to use it. I wasn't in any predicament. I wasn't in any bad situation. I would have flooded out and I would have died. So being able to use your damage control effectively is very, very important. I'm trying to secure the kill here on the enemy Otago. He's got 17,000 hit points, and there we go. I get the citadel and the penetration that I need. I pick up my 3rd kill of the game on that tier 8 premium Japanese heavy cruiser, and now the kills are starting to pile on as we're making our way over to the Bravo cap. There's only 2 enemy ships left. There's a Baltimore and there's a Kagero somewhere out in the ether. I'm looking for a full broadside here against the Baltimore. He is angled rather nicely at 14.5 kilometers, but look at that dispersion. It is fantastic stuff. The shells are falling in on the target, and of course I shot just a little bit too short. But yeah, as you've seen throughout the entirety of the replay, the dispersion has just been fantastic, and I've harped on it quite a bit, but I just really think it's important that you guys realize just how effective the artillery plotting room modification 2 is. Some torpedoes coming in from the Kagero, however, I turned just in the nick of time, and I don't eat any of them, so very good stuff right there. Now looking for the full broadside here. Only the 2 forward guns get over. The dispersion looks okay. You can see a lot of the shells are arranged in a nice line across the screen. I'm going to follow the shells in here, and kaboom! I get the Citadel on the Baltimore, the Tier 9 American heavy cruiser. I pick up my 4th kill of the game. And you can see here the last reported position of the Kagero was in about C5. So I'm hoping, as my guns are about ready to get reloaded here, that he is going to appear somewhere off of my front side, because I got my guns turned a little bit off to the starboard, but we'll see here if this Akazuki is going to be able to get a spot, and there we go. The Kagero does get spotted. He's on about 4,500 hit points. I'm now going to swing my forward guns into play, and we'll see if I'm going to be able to get myself a nice, well-earned Kraken. The shells are on the way. The dispersion looks okay, and there we go. I pick up the Kraken and end a fantastic game here in the Iowa. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 617,000 credits received and 6.5k total EXP. I picked up Confederate, Fireproof, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber, dealing 182,000 points of damage off of 42 shell hits. I had 14 planes shot down, 5 enemy ships sunk, 9 citadels, 7 base defense ribbons, and 1 assisted base capture. Taking a look at the team score, 2,828 base EXP. That is a very solid performance as a top tier ship. My buddy Megadude finished in 2nd place with 1 ship killed, 19 planes shot down, and 1,971 base EXP, so a good game from him as well. Taking a look at the detailed report, every single bit of damage was dealt with the AP shells, and just showing why it is so satisfying to play this ship, and of course the Missouri, its sister ship. I accounted for 87 of the 448 defense points and 25 of the 119 capture points, so I was still able to help my team on and around the objectives, and I had about 839,000 potential damage received in that game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this replay as much as I had playing it. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, this is the Sneaky Snake signing off. Guys and gals, as always, have a great day.